Hello, my darlings. So I am live. Welcome to the Gentleman Psychic. For those of you who have not been here before, it is a possibility that you are very new. You are clicking this link because you see the Satanic Conspiracy, and I am going to tell you, as an out Satanist, Hollywood Satanist, our plans have been foiled. What can I say? We just have to find another way for world domination, because apparently the Christians have now decided that that thing, the thing that has us all in our homes for a while, is some sort of satanic conspiracy. That's why you have to wear masks and stand 6 feet apart. I don't know what you're saying there. My lovely friend is saying something, and what were you saying?
I was saying it's not just 6 feet apart. It's six.
Oh, right. So if you are really going to be truly satanic, you have to stand 6 foot, 0.66 inches away from people. And wearing the masks, oh yes, totally satanic, totally satanic. Actually, the reason that we are here talking a little bit like this today is because we are still working on compiling the video for from Virginia City. It is we have limited days as I am working on other things, and Lady Alexandra is busy working on things too. So we are coming to you, but I did not want you to think that I was neglecting you. So I thought I would come here and say hello this way. Hello, I see you. Is it Keena Lee? Hello, welcome. As you see, I'm here in my seance room, and I love these colors. They really sort of seem to... now, there's a bright light here, but that's because I have mirrors. Oh, yeah, there we go. There's a shot right there. Anyway, hello, Pam. How are you? Lovely to see you. I was scrolling through Facebook, as one does, and apparently there was this woman who was on the school board who was saying that with the children going back to school, wearing the masks was satanic, and it was some sort of world domination tactic, and that standing 6 feet apart was of the Antichrist. And then she went on to say that they were satanic pagans, which you can be. You could be a satanic pagan. I kind of fall in that category, though typically pagans and Satanists are different groups, usually. I also wanted to talk a little bit about Kenneth Copeland, by the way. So apparently, Kenneth Copeland, the televangelist, the scam evangelist, Kenneth Copeland, he had this believers convention down in Texas, and on his first day, he raised $1,347,000.55 or something like this on his day one, and he bragged that his operating cost was $1,300,000. So he's already 400 and whatever $1,000 ahead of where he should be. So it's a cash grab. And then he went and got really political, and I am a believer that there should be separation of church and state. That the church should not be telling you. The church should not be telling you how to vote. I'll move this over here. Maybe if I move this, you won't see that light so much.
It's quite blinding.
Here, maybe if I move this over here. I'll move it like that. So that's kind of the problem with having a room with mirrors, is that, now that's a little better. Yeah, that's better.
A bit. You've got like a fog thing almost on either side. Really
It's the mirror. You see right there, it's the mirrors. Anyway, so Kenneth Copeland raised $1,345,000 on day one. Well, then, in true hypocrite fashion, he went on to talk about how that the man who sits in the office curses. And personally, I don't care if you curse, but if you are going to be professing one thing, then you should stick by it, and you should not be He says, though, that this person in the office curses and that that's the worst thing that it is. With that, I'm going to tell you a personal story about Kenneth Copeland and why I don't like him. Maybe I move it down a little. Yeah, that's better. I don't like Kenneth Copeland. I never have liked Kenneth Copeland. I feel that he preys on the weak. My first encounter with him, I was only about a month old. And my parents went to a big meeting down in Texas. They traveled a lot. And it was a big church. He was already, at this point, he was getting pretty well known, but he wasn't yet on television. So he was just building up. And my parents went to this revival, and there was something about him that even as a baby, I could not stand. And I would scream and I would cry. And Kenneth Copeland, from the pulpit, screamed, "You get that baby out of here." And my mother and my father looked at each other. They packed up their Bibles and they walked out. And so did the whole section with them. I have always had, whenever I'm around energies that are not kind and not good and not generous, oftentimes I get that feeling. Now, I don't scream like that. I just sort of separate myself. But as a baby, how could I remove myself? I couldn't. I just had to make a fuss. And then years went by, years, and this is not with necessarily Kenneth Copeland, but in his later years, my father would only watch the church channel, the Trinity Broadcasting Network. He would watch Westerns and Fox News. That was it. That was all he ever watched. And as good as a man as my father was, now, mind you, my father traveled the world and he founded churches in Korea, and he did a lot of things. And so in the later years, he had heart condition and had a pacemaker put in and removed because it was getting infected, and he had stroke after stroke, and then they were going to have to amputate his leg because he had diabetes. It was one thing after another. So he had gone to the bathroom, the ensuite bathroom, and he had scraped his toe on the tile. That was what sort of led to them. They were going to have to amputate his leg, but he died before that happened. So my father would sit in his wheelchair. He had a power chair, and he would watch this constant stream of Trinity Broadcasting and the church network, or the church channel, whatever it is. And he would sit there and get sort of, they have this way about them. This one in particular was the scam evangelist Benny Hinn from Canada. And now I have nothing against people who are wealthy. I have nothing against people who get paid for it, who accept what I have no problem with that. I think that it is a beautiful thing to be wealthy. It is a beautiful thing to welcome it. It is a beautiful thing. Where I have the problem is that they willfully take advantage of people. And this Benny Hinn was no different. So it was before, well, I moved out and I moved back in to take care of my father there at the end. And I was sitting on the computer in the family room, and my father was watching Trinity Broadcasting Network, and Benny Hinn was on. And Benny Hinn has this thing where if you've never seen him, I will save you the ridiculousness. You can probably go find on YouTube some clips, but he has this thing where he will take his coat off and he will fan people, and they will, as the Pentecostals call it, be slain in the spirit. And he'd do it and the whole balcony will fall, or he'll do it and the whole front row will fall, or whatever it may be. And then after all of this rigmarole, all of the big, then it comes down and he has the pastor's corner. And he would put the camera, sort of like I've got the camera here, and he would talk directly to his people. And he would say something like this. He would say, "The Lord tells me right now that there is someone sitting in a wheelchair, and you have a problem with your left leg. And the Lord tells me right now that if you can reach in your pocket and pull out $10, you can send me $1,000. That is verbatim a quote from Benny Hinn. And there was my father, this strong, powerful, mountain climbing, magical figure who was weakened to a state of being in a wheelchair with a problem with his left leg, which is, of course, when you have all of these people, when you have an international ministry, you can say those broad blanket statements and it will be true to somebody. So he said this, and my father, I turned to my father, and he was crying, had tears in his eyes. And he pulled out a $10 note from his wallet. And he called my mother. He always called her honey. He called my mother. He says, "Honey, I feel led of the Lord to send that man $1,000. I said, "Excuse me?" And then Benny Hinn goes on, "Lord will bless you, Lord will bless you, Lord will bless you, Lord will bless you." He's doing this while I'm talking to my father. And I said, "Why would you send that man $1,000? His clothing, that is a $10,000 suit. That is a $30,000 ring. That is a $100,000 watch. He has mansion after mansion after mansion and Rolls Royces. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. But when you are preaching that you are trying to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and you are living like a king, you're not following the path of Christ, who was, of course, a carpenter. And he walked on foot until the one time he rode via donkey. So I said to my father, "So why would you do that? He doesn't even believe like you." And my father said, "Well, maybe not all of it, but much of it is there." And I said, "No, he doesn't. He doesn't believe like you." He says, "I don't care. I feel led of the Lord. Honey, write that man a check for $1,000. So my mother sat down. She wrote a check for $1,000 to Benny Hinn. And she was afraid of what repercussions may be. So about a week went by, and my father asked my mother, he said, "Honey, did you send that check to Brother Benny Hinn?" And my mother, knowing he was going to ask her, said, "Well, I what did she say? She said something about, I mailed the envelope yesterday." My mother mailed a blank envelope to Benny Hinn. And again, I'm not preaching against wealth. Wealth is, it is a beautiful blessing. It is wonderful. And it is something that if you believe in something, if you enjoy something, go ahead and send people money. That's great. In fact, you can go to my Patreon, The Gentleman's House. You can do that. That would be greatly appreciated. But the point is, yes, my mother did not lie. My mother told the truth. She said, "I mailed the envelope." And she actually did. She got in the car and she went to the post office and she mailed the envelope, because my mother's really funny. My mother, she even now at 81 years old, my mother, the one thing that she cannot stand is a liar. And I agree. For me, I tell the truth as much as I can. I am human, and sometimes we all make mistakes, and that's okay. We're all human. But I do try to be incredibly honest with everyone. In fact, when I'm reading my cards, I don't hold back, and I tell people, this is what I'm seeing. It could be something else for you, but this is what I'm seeing from my perspective. Your future is not written yet. You are the director of your own movie. You are the writer of your own novel. You can edit things out. You can change things. The future is not written yet. It can be, but from my perspective, this is where your trajectory is. Anyway, I'm doing a little bit of a rant. I know. I can't believe that after all of this time, Kenneth Copeland is still out there, and Paula White, and Bishop T.D. Jakes, and what's her name, Joyce Myers. These people, they have this sort of self-dealing ministry, and surely people can in fact receive blessings from these things. Because it's a very personal thing with what you are, how you are connecting to the universe, whether you call the universe God or Jesus or Yahweh or Allah or Krishna or Buddha or Vishnu. It doesn't, energies, that part doesn't really matter. You can actually receive some blessings. It's like the placebo effect. The placebo effect is a very real thing, and people are healed when there is just the suggestion thereof. But what these people are dealing with specifically is they are using their platform to take away from people that cannot even afford to pay rent. In fact, I think was it Kenneth Copeland? One of them recently had said, oh, it was Kenneth Copeland. One of them, he said that at the beginning of this whole lockdown stuff, he said, don't you dare skip a tithe payment. Don't you dare, with churches closed, you come down here and you put that in an envelope and you slide that under the door. You do not steal from God. Meanwhile, people have been without jobs. People have been without food. It's a real human situation. And Kenneth Copeland and what is his name? Oh goodness, that Joel Osteen and the bigwigs. They make their money by telling you that God will only bless you if they can drive a Rolls Royce, if they can buy a private jet. It was Kenneth Copeland who went ahead and bought another, what was it, like a $30 million jet or something, through donations, because he didn't want to fly commercial, because it was like flying with a tube of demons. My father was not a dumb person. My father was not a dumb man. And if you believe these people, you're not dumb either. I mean, I know I've been taken advantage of sometimes, especially when it comes to things that I've ordered online. Never order from Wish, by the way. Never order from Wish. However, you're not dumb for wanting to believe. It is admirable, but I would say this, just take a little time, step back and say, is God tied to this one place? Is God tied to this one man? Is God tied, or are we as a people, and I believe that this is the truth, that we are all interconnected. Every race, every religion, every age, every ethnic background, everything that we are one flesh. And God, or the universe, or the energies that exist, flows through all of our veins. So, if you would like to, hello Wish, get your package next year with super fast shipping. Ha! Yes, that's very true. I can't remember the last time I shopped on Wish, but Wish was, my goodness, I think the last thing I bought from Wish was 3 or 4 years ago. It still hasn't arrived, by the way. There's a whole new thing now about, speaking of being scammed, there's this whole new thing now, and I've looked it up because I love clothing. In case you hadn't noticed, I love clothing. And there are all of these things popping up on Facebook and popping up on sort of social media, and they have these high-end fashion things with prices that are too good to be true. If they're too good to be true, it probably is. So, don't order from them. By the way, I scrolled through, and I have wanted to. I have really, 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 really wanted to. I didn't. I want to. Anyway, so go ahead and check out the Gentleman's House on Patreon, and there are other ways. If this channel gives you joy, if you love my friend the devil and Asmodeus, even if you don't love them but you would like to see me continue, if you don't want to see me continue, that's fine. I will still accept you as a Patreon. It is only if this brings you pleasure, and this is something that makes your day go by a little bit better, and you have the capacity to, you can donate through Patreon, The Gentleman's House, or you can go to PayPal. My PayPal is my email address, which will be in the link below. I have Venmo. Any way that you would like to support the channel, and you can, it is always appreciated. Because as you know, time is valuable. It is expensive, and I am bringing to you these magic, these talks, these sort of educational things to you. And I do it because I do care for you, because I enjoy all of the feedback. I love seeing your names pop up. So if you have the capacity, I would greatly appreciate it. So look for the new video. We're supposed to be getting it out, hopefully tonight. Hopefully. I can't promise because
Tomorrow morning.
Maybe tomorrow morning. We might get it in tomorrow morning. I hope we can get it in. We still have a couple of segments with the boys to film. And then I have to do an intro for it. So when you see the video in the intro, I may be wearing this suit. I may not be. I don't know. Things change. I change. I change my mind like a girl changes clothes. Is that?
Katy Perry.
Yeah, Katy Perry. I know. Katy Perry. Anyway, my darlings, this has been The Gentleman Psychic, and I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for all of the likes, the comments, and the shares. Till next time, my beauties, I love you. Take care. Bye-bye.